Welcome back to Transform Your Mind to Transform Your Life podcast. I'm your host, Life Coach Renee Young, and this is 5-Minute Fridays with Coach Myrna. Today, I want to talk to you on the topic of 3 ways to let your inner greatness shine through. And I want to use as my foundational story, the story of the Golden Buddha. The Golden Buddha is a story about a Buddha that was covered up in mud by the monks so that the gold couldn't shine through because they did not want their enemy to confiscate the Golden Buddha. So here's your story. In Bangkok, there was a golden statue of the Buddha that stands 9 feet 8 inches tall, weighs 5.5 tons, and is worth approximately 250 million. The statue was thought to be built in 1403 and was revered by Buddhists for hundreds of years. In 1757, the Burmese army was invading Thailand, and facing complete annihilation, the Buddhist monks at the monastery hastily began covering their golden Buddha with plaster, which was painted and inlaid with bits of colored glass to make it look of little or no value to the invading army. During the invasion, all the Buddhist monks were tragically murdered, but the golden Buddha was left undiscovered. In 1957, an entire monastery in Thailand was being relocated by a group of monks. And one day they were moving the giant clay Buddha when one of the monks noticed a large crack in the clay. On closer investigation, he saw that there was a golden light emanating from the crack. The monk then used a hammer and a chisel to chip away at the clay exterior until he revealed that the statue was in fact made of solid gold. This story illustrates the point that we can cover up our value by layering it with mud as well. So let me ask you, what is your mud? What life experiences added layers of mud and covered up your value to the world? We are all golden Buddhas underneath, but we cover up our greatness with mud of self-doubt, feelings of not being good enough, insecurity, and other negative emotions. So here are 3 ways to chip away at the mud that you let pile up that stops your inner greatness from shining through. The first thing we have to do, like in all coaching, we have to clarify. Identify your mud. Is it self-doubt? Is it lack of self-worth? Body image? Not being good enough? You can't change what you don't identify. And until you dig through the layers of mud, you can't shine and become what you were created to do. So number 1, identify it. Step number 2, speak to the mud. If your mud is feelings of not being good enough, for example, then speak to those feelings and tell them that you are good enough, that you were created for this purpose. If your mud is body image, tell it that you were wonderfully and fearfully made, and that beauty comes in all shapes and sizes, and you are perfect just the way you are. And finally, number 3, take action to remove your mud. Our daily behaviors reflect our deepest beliefs. Clean up your language and speak life into your situation. Take massive action to change your beliefs with affirmations. Realize that you were conditioned to believe that you can't do something. Think of the elephant that is controlled by a sudden stick in the ground. That elephant can pull up that stick, but because he was conditioned from small, when he didn't have the strength, he wouldn't pull that stick out. So figure out when you decide to accept this limitation and go back and take action to remove it. Resources in the mind are unlimited. Use the fuel of your thoughts to find the resources to do something great and uncover your golden Buddha. And let your inner greatness shine through. Thanks for tuning in to this week's episode of 5 Minute Fridays with Coach Myrna. I want to invite you to join my Facebook group called Life Coach, where you will receive inspiration every day of the week. And I will meet you back right here next week, same time. So thanks again for tuning in to the Transform Your Mind to Transform Your Life podcast and 5 Minute Fridays. Until next time, namaste.